my God, this is the third time I'm starting. I can't get the time right. Oh, so it's 6:10 in the morning. It's probably 6:11 now. So 6:11 in the morning. Okay, so it's 6:11, but the day is 2:15. So it's February 15th, Sunday, which my computer's supposed to come today. So today I'll try and figure it out and see if I can't record on that tomorrow. And it is so weird on YouTube. I don't know what they do to my sound to create so much interference in it. But they make this sound like an old projector going. And it sounds like a film going. It's weird. So anyways, yeah. But we'll see what happens with the new thing. But I don't think it's the thing on here, because when I put these ones, then it's only on the shorts. When I do these ones, I don't hear it. And then when I do on TikTok or send my family videos and stuff, I don't hear it. Only on YouTube Shorts. So it's really weird. Yesterday I had the day. Oh my God, yesterday was rough, man. And so I'm gonna bitch for a minute, but so I had made an order. I've got this whole. Stella is going through her medicine really quick, and so I put in this order and was expecting it to get delivered. So I got a notification in the morning when I finished and said my order was delivered. So I go to look and see where it was placed, and it was placed at my mom's. I was like, are you motherfucking kidding me? And so I'm trying to figure out, like, now what? How do I get this? Do I ever return it? Like, because she's blind. She can't even drive. So she has to get a ride anywhere she goes. So then I'm trying to, like, figure out, like, what do I do? And so I go in to try and, because I was dependent on that medicine getting here too. And so I went in and tried to order more of that. Almost all of the dog CBD is not available on Amazon. And Amazon, not Amazon, I had heard federally or something they were going to try and make hemp illegal at this point. It's also absurd. So, which is not anything that does anything to you. It is, it's not, it doesn't have any THC in it. So, but the plant still has, what is that, remedies or something? And which I also saw yesterday, that there's a leafy plant that they eat in other countries, but here they've made it illegal. And they said it's a toxic, intrusive plant. So it takes over. And it is like, they compare it, they were saying that spinach is like 0.81 of whatever, the vitamin or whatever. And this has like 10 times the amount or something. Like, this stuff is so much more healthy, and they eat it all the time in Asia. And here they make it illegal. And it grows real easy. It's so absurd. Like, I just saw somebody yesterday doing a Fanta. So they took an American Fanta and compared it to one that's in England. Theirs looks like the light orange. Ours is really bright orange. Which she was like, what is the deal with the color? How weird is that? And then she looked at the sugar content. Ours has like 45 grams of sugar, and theirs has like 0.15 or something. They have a minimal amount. And she said even the taste, like, ours tastes like pure sugar. And then why does the color look like that? And then theirs just tastes like orange juice. And it looks more like orange juice. I mean, they're hardcore on here of whatever they're trying to do to us, make us sick, because of the for-profit medical system. And so in other places, where it's free, then it's hard to get. But they still, are making people sick. So, but here is the worst, for sure. And so, okay, so back on my thing yesterday. So I was trying to figure that out. And then how was I going to get my stuff? And so it just was like this big ordeal that you just don't even see it coming in. It went to her address because I had ordered a gift for her. and it's supposed to be there, so they defaulted to her address, and I didn't even notice when I did the order because my address is the default. So, and the lady, because I had to call customer service, and I called it a couple times because she was putting money back into my account so that I could just reorder, and then my mom's supposed to go and return it. So I had to set all that whole thing up and set it up with my mom, and then the medicine she's going to send to me, because I'm like, I need the medicine, and there's like, it's becoming not available everywhere. So so anyways, it just was like a big pain in the ass, and I was like practically in tears. I was just like, oh my God, just this stupid ass shit that just comes out of nowhere, that just causes you problems and stress throughout the day. And it's just like, was so frustrating. And there was some other stuff I was going to talk about too with the frustrations, but there's something else. So wait a second, let me see. Because there's a bunch of stuff that I don't know. It kind of triggers me, and I when I more first had my brain injury, I got really triggered, and I've been able to look back on this a bunch of times, and it was about my friend in that I have had since I was 16 in Texas. So I was there visiting, and she's like, "Let's go to this concert," and it was a band from the 80s, and so we went, and it was packed. It was so many people, and I can look at it, now and see like, oh well, it was really a popular band. I mean, they had music in the movies and stuff, but anyways, so we go to it, and it just irritated me. It irritated me, all these people, because it was like, where were all these people in the 80s? And it's like, but people act like, I don't know, something about it bugs me. Just like I got a video sent to me this morning, and it was, I guess she's an astrology person. And you got to remember, most of these astrology people are blue, and they are real blue. And so she, they are when they're talking, there's a little bit of a tainted view of things, and so they always have to bring up Donald, and they always got to bring up Donald. But so she was talking about Project Bluebeam and all this stuff, and it gave me the same kind of irritation of like, when you've been talking about something for a long time, and then these people come in, it's like, so if you're closer to the front of the line, so you're more at the front of, and when you're at the front, you get a lot of people, telling you you're crazy and you're ridiculous. The military doesn't have all this technology and stuff like that. And so you get more battle wounds, let's say. And then the people at the back who supposedly know all this stuff, then they don't give any support because they see, what's happening to you. So they're just going to be like, well, I'm just going to keep quiet on this one. And so you don't really get any support. And so you get the battle wounds, and as things move forward and things are revealed, then suddenly these people act like, well, I've known it all along. I've been right there. I've known it all along. And it's like the same kind of thing. And so then why weren't you giving support to those of us who were up saying it, who were getting bashed about it? Why'd you sit back and be quiet or join in with the crowd? And so there's so much of that like being processed through some of this stuff, because you got all these people coming out now who they know it all. They've known it for a long time, and they just started talking about it, but they've known it. And I even said this years ago. I was like, well, if you believed in the aliens for your whole life, then why were you making fun of us at parties when we talked about it? And because it's like this, it's it's kind of like an opportunistic information. When it benefits me, I'll talk about it. If it's not going to, then I'll keep quiet. And who knows what they really believe or didn't believe or thought or whatever. I don't know. But it irritates me now how many people come out and act like, they're the experts when they weren't even talking about it. They were like just quiet about it. And so, anyways, I was like feeling like that about this lady. And I don't know what her thing is because it's just a trigger. It's just so something in me comes to the surface. So I can process through that kind of bitterness of there being no support and people allowing you to just be out there in the open and not stepping up and joining in and standing on business and speaking the truth. And they just stand back with the rest of the crowd. Maybe they're not throwing rocks, but they're not stopping it. And so I've got my own triggers on that. So, but this lady, so she was talking about the astrology, and she's decided July that they're going to do the blue beam. And so she's talking all this stuff about, the technology and blue beam and stuff like that. When you're, man, and being somebody who's talked about this technology for such a long time is you really get made fun. Like, people think that you're an idiot. And so then it's real convenient when it's a safe space to come out and be the expert. It's like, I don't know, triggers me, that's all I can say. So anyways, she, but her thing is, okay, so every craft you're seeing right now is all us. And it's all the setup. So it's all to prepare you for their big thing, which, those of us who have been talking about this, we were talking about Blue Beam a while ago, like I think about 3-4 years ago. And so, and there's no telling. There's no telling if that's what they're going to do. That has been a projected event from the guy who was he's out of the Cosmic Disclosure, and he was the ex-FBI or some. He was in the paranormal crime division. So he would have to go out, to the stuff that ends up in the Inquirer. And, but, it's all on the hush, it's all on the low. Don't talk about it. So anyways, but once he left, I don't know if his NDA ran out or what, he started talking about it, whatever. So anyways, he's been out talking about the blue beam thing for a long time. And so, those of us who have been in the ufology community and technology and all that stuff, we've, talked about it. And, so now her, because these experts are just coming out of the woodwork, she says, they've had this for a long time, and all the things that everybody's seeing, it's all fake. That all of it is our government. Well, I disagree with that. It's not all fake. There is probably confusion, just like in social media, where they are infiltrating all information and throwing out AI, throwing out misinformation. They're just loading everything in, and it creates confusion. Confusion should create the obstacle course towards the finality of you. So you figuring you out, and it's the obstacle course that you got to maneuver through to become aware or comfortable of yourself and your own beliefs. And most of the stuff that is even being shown as AI and stuff is still true stuff. And so most everything that you would see in a supernatural world of events would be true, because there's so much cosmic, supernatural, like there's a whole other world that is new to you, that is the real world. And so there wouldn't just be our own up there. Just like the girl, the Nibiru lady who shows the map and all this stuff going on in the sky. She said people think that the government is out doing all of these lines all over the place. She said there's way more going on than just that. And she said they wouldn't have time or money or anything to do what is going on in the sky, that there's way more. And so it's kind of like even going up there and going to town, then it gives us the illusion of that's what's going on up there, but there's more going on up there. And that's what we need to be aware of, that they are just trying to cover up what's going on up there. But it's also in our mind of like, well, look at what they've done today. And it's really like, no, we've got dimensional movement. We've got worlds coming together above us. And it's us pulling them in. It's us opening up to our mind, which creates the vibration, which allows what's unseen to be seen. Because this stuff is there, everything is in layers, but we are beginning to have it shift in and out of our reality and be able to see it because of us becoming more aware of the untruths of this reality. So so there definitely is real ships as well. It's not just because they're out there. I mean, that's just a part of what reality really is. Just like as soon as the technology gets released to us, we'll be up there zipping around in our own. And I mean, that's what a hovercraft is. It's like your first car of the elevated travel. So it's like your Volkswagen, and they're driving Mercedes or Rolls Royces. We're just getting started. But yeah, we're going to be up there zipping around too. And so it's, as we're entering other dimensional pulls, then yeah, there's things that are up there. And that's a part of you waking up. Don't just be paranoid and think, oh, it's all fake, it's all fake, it's all fake. No, we're entering into a new world. In the new world, we're getting glimpses. So that's, to me, an unsubstantiated statement to say all of it is the government preparing us for their episode that they're going to do in July. And so, which things could happen before July. I mean, and even, their Project Anchor is, we're all going to just take off and start floating and then fall. So, so she was also saying, that, because this is where I say you got to remember these people are, very left leaning, is because they're doing this because it's, Donald's taking over the world. I mean, he's taking over and he's going to use these crafts to attack us so that they can get control over us, because that's what he's doing. That's what his whole motivation is, because, he's a tater. So which, if you had more perspective, then you would understand more about what is happening, which I saw another guy. Okay, so I don't know, I might have seen this guy before. Maybe I don't know. But he was showing a book and talking about a guy who was exposing a lot of stuff. I just saw a girl yesterday, and when it's other people's information, it's hard for me to give it, repeat it exactly. But she was talking about the hidden information too. Okay, so she said that yesterday was like an anniversary of a king who decided to do a crazy slaughter on a group, which was 3 different ones, one being the Mason of, Frida, and then there was 2 other names, but they were the secret organization way back, like whatever, 1600s or something. And this wacko controlling crown decided, he was going to take them all out. So that many of us are born from that time. We were in the secret organizations. And he showed this in the movies. This is what's trippy, is so we hid information in our DNA. So we hid information in ourselves. And so then when we were taken out, and we were back, and I don't know, I mean, I don't know if I'm one. I don't know. But people could feel that. So we hid information inside of ourselves. And then we came back at this time, and then there was triggers to remember, to help us remember and start that part of our DNA back. And that's why there's lots of people who know like the secrets of the universe and stuff like that, because they knew them, and now there's triggers to remember. So you're remembering, but it's because you stored it in yourself. And so they wanted to destroy the information, but those of us who were there knew how to hide the information and then come back and bring the information back. But there was also other ones that were able to take information and go and hide. And they show something about that in that show Supernatural, with the hidden, the mystery schools, the hidden knowledge and stuff, which these other people, they want access to. And so that could be like what they were looking for. How I've been saying, they've been looking for different code. So they were looking for these different codes because they are the holders of the information. And so they've been trying to track them, because I said before, these people are old, they are from these times. And so they are always trying to track. And since we come back looking different than we did then, they have to try and access to try and figure out who we are through our code. And they keep us in ignorance so that people don't realize like your code is actually significant. And so, and I don't know. I mean, my code, my guides, whatever, was telling me to certain places like to hide, don't, even though I was talking about the truth about things ever since I was a kid, that there was, just like the testing and stuff, that they couldn't find, I mean, when you look at the world, like there's so many people. I mean, that's like trying to look for a pin in a haystack. So it's a big job. And so they've tried to come up with other things too. And any of the code that they could find, they've tried to take it and put it inside of others. And that could be a part, because I just saw a guy talking about that this is how disturbing these people are, is that when there was a woman in labor, then she became on the table, and then was into the container, and they feasted as it was very fresh and still attached. Which, can you imagine the trauma? I guess that's what, like some of that stuff is used to blank you out, because like, what the world, oh my God. And so the but it is, they want to devour to receive powers. So they could, like, say at their farm that they have, the elevator and the code people, and they are pulling, and then they are putting, the same way that they do, because it's not just all a bunch of old fucking geezer sperm. It's same way they do, what's that called? Infertility, with ladies who go in and get the implants. So they do that, and so they pull code, and then they teeter or do stuff, then they implant it. So the farm isn't just, it's a literal carrier. It's a literal womb for the created code. And then it comes out, and they devour it, because they are trying to, they don't know how to raise their vibration. Like, which this was creepy as hell, man. So the Jeffrey that we all, the face that goes with the name that we all believe. So there was a lady who was a survivor, and she said that's not him. She said that they put somebody out there, but that's they always do that. She said they always put somebody out who's not the real, and so she showed the real. And she said, and we didn't call him all these different names that we think. No, he was called either Mama or Daddy. No, that was Mama, I think, or like King. That was the only way you could refer to him, was two words. And so you see the real guy, and oh yeah, he looks very different. He looks very, he looks very typical, like a Z, like a blue. So he looks very distinct. And so yeah, he's a billionaire who is owns tons and tons of property. He owns tons and tons of, there's tons of islands he owns. And so uh the other guy, she showed his profile, and his real name is like Maurice or something, I don't know, something. And but he is the face of the other guy, so the other guy can stay hidden, because the other guy is, like the Godfather or something, so he has to have somebody who's the target. So anyways, there's more of the insanity of the lies and the mystery. But so the mystery school, the true information of the reality is held by those who were kind of like the one guy who was talking about like the shamans and stuff, a long ancient history of shaman who birthed another one, and like a genetic coding of these certain people. But there's lots of wizard kind of people, witches, people who went and began to work with alchemy and in communication and stuff, and began to understand. And so there was always been a lot of carriers of the truth. And so but at this point you are remembering, and some people may not be remembering because they may not be carriers of the code, but the ones who are remembering could be where the ones that they think are the chosen or whatever, but they really are the carriers of the code to remember themselves. And then after they remember and clear the path, because you do a clearing on yourself, the shedding of your skin, of the non-remembering, then moving forward, that the others will see it, because not everyone would be carrying the code of the truth of the mystery school or the magic or the spiritual world that we exist in. And so it is it's more like that. So the one lady who I'd seen yesterday, and she said, so they tried to do in all of these three mystery school holders of truth, because this guy wanted the people to not know the truth. So they decided, we're just gonna, all of them. And as Richard said, that a lot of them hid the code, and like swallowed the key to be, like off with their head. Well, you remembered the code. It became a part of your code. So you just had to have your code ignited to remember. And it was always going to be reignited in this world. And so then some were hidden and carried the truth, but they have remained hidden, just like the giants have remained hidden. So there's a lot of hidden, and a lot of so there's gonna be more truth coming out. But so when people are saying Donald the Tater is doing all this stuff because he wants the ultimate control and he's trying to hide and stuff like that, then those things are there's just a lot of misinformation going around. And misinformation is bred from the not knowing all of the information, because you are blocking out some of it because your biases won't allow you to acknowledge it or receive it. And so that holds you in a containment of misinformation. It's because you have a very one-sided perspective over something. You don't have the full view. You get out and walk around. You can talk to everybody and figure it out. You can't just be focused on one thing. But when they also have a lot of like, they're telling everybody the truth now and all this stuff. So it's very kind of ego driven. So so got that going on. So I mean, everybody's got to, go through and siphon or go through, what is that called? Is it called siphon? Going through information and seeing how it sits with you, and you don't have to be the carrier of all information, because we all carry it together, and it would be too heavy a load for one person to carry, so we all carry it together. And so but just open your heart and your mind to receive information. And so then I saw this other guy who was talking about the guy from the 1800s or whatever, who was one of these people who was the knower of the magic. And, and he said, it's so crazy how he's in this book, this old book from the 1800s or something, but they hide his name, and he was telling about the magnetism of the world and how it works and the structure and how everything works. And I didn't listen to his whole thing, so I don't know all the stuff he was saying. But I was like, well, that, because a lot of people don't realize, like, that is what the MAGA was about. And I think it was Juan, I think, who was talking about that in 2020. Like, so this is like, that's what I'm saying. There's some of us have been talking about this for a long ass time. And but we're at this period of time of the great flood. And then the flood is the information. And so I'm trying to, I don't know, throw out some life rings. But so he had talked about that the MAGA, that was the whole thing, it's based on the magnetism, because that is what everything really is about. And that would be the truth holders of the mystery school would have an awareness of the universal actions, like the universal laws, and how the universe really works, which is based on what you put out comes back to you. And so that's what the yin and the yang, it's like it's the tail being consumed by the other. It's like the tail eating itself, kind of just going around and around and around, which is also that symbol that Mustache Man had taken in, and then they corroded it and changed kind of the thing. But I don't know that is necessarily true, because he was very into the mystery school magic, the supernatural and stuff. So I think he probably was using it as a symbol of what it really is, which is like the yin to the yang. It's like the movement. It's like the going around and around and around and around. And so it's like the cycles. It's like an awareness of the cycles. And so in the the yin to the yang thing, so you have the light and the dark, but they work together. And so they each are like consuming the tail of the other, because then they make the action. So everything is like needs both powers to create, to function. And also that thing, which you can look up more, the meaning of that in it's like an old Chinese kind of ancient meaning of it, and what it symbolized, and I think it was like for the monks or something. So anyways, but it has a different meaning than what they have tried to say, and switch the meaning of what it means now. And but before, it was kind of more like the yin and the yang kind of symbol, and it is the movement of the energy, and it is based on the magnetic pull. And so this other guy, whatever he's talking about, so but that is what the MAGA, and then the slogan, because where we go one, we go all, because it's a magnetic thing. And so where we focus our energy, we go. And that's the part where they know, and that's why they try and direct us of how to see things. And that is a part of, I think, why they're trying to create a lot of fear and a lot of projection, so that we keep creating this hostile kind of environment. And that's why we need to be pulling free and start directing our thoughts towards the new world, where we want to go, what we want from life, not what we're running from, but where we're headed. And so that is where we take control of what we project. And because where we go is what follows. And so it is, it's all part of the alchemy of the mystery school, the magic of the cosmos. And so it is, and it's really a natural order. So that's where kind of the concept of science comes in, because the truth behind spirituality is that it is kind of like a science, because it is, like magnetism. Where you go, the different codes of Fibonacci or whatever thing, like it's all of the natural action of nature. And it is but that's where they try and isolate and create a science here. And but they are missing the spiritual, because they are the dark. And so they are missing a big component to the truth, and they're trying to find the truth through the science. And that is where you would think of the dark trying to compete with God, which I can't even believe how many people are just like, God, just God doing that, God doing that. It's like, why do you think there's this one holy God in all this world? There's a whole bunch of gods out there, but there's not one holy God over us all. There's not one creator. We are all creators. It is it's the big bang of energy. And then where does the energy go and create what it is to be alive? And then there's a whole development stage of going through being energy and creating what it is to be alive, and learning from yourself through the different experiences. But that's the creation. We are the creators. And so to think that there's one God up there who's created it all, it's like you are really minimizing, because there is a whole world out there, and that's what's going to be exposed, is this ginormous world. And it's all coming together. So it's not going to be, there's one creator that created all this. We are the creators of the world, of existence. We are the players. We are the ones who go out and create what it is to be. And then when we all come together, we are the mind of the mind of the cosmos, the mind of God, the mind of it all. We all come together, and we are like a unit, which would be like where they come up with source. So the source of all information is when we all come back together, and that is all our information coming together. It's the fabrics that have woven the universe. So we are the players, we are the creators. And these people want to keep minimizing and thinking that there's a creator over them. Well, that's whatever that is, the outer Loki of control, where you think someone out there is in control of you, which there is a controlling factor, which would be called destiny. Because in order to have order, you go into an experience with all of these other experiencers and all these other creators, but you are going into like a story. And so the story is written just as this story is written. And so whatever we're going to do is always what we're going to do. And so the stories are written, so it can feel like somebody is up there is in control of your day, but it's really, you are the player in the storyline. You are the role that you are out there to play. and to really start understanding your role is the journey. And it is a part of your expansion. It is a part of your understanding of who and what you are in the roles that you play, because you learn from every role that you play. And so, and then you have the other players, the extension, because we all blast out. And so we all come from the same. So, in some sense, you could say we are all the same, and we all come from the same place. But it's like your body has multiple cells. It's got zillions of cells that creates who you are. But you're made up of all these different cells, and they all have different actions. But they're all as important and valid to you as your structure is one to the other. And so the cells in the micro macro of understanding, the cells make up who you are. So we, the cells, the souls of the universe, then we make up what that is, what the experience is. So we're all the souls or the cells of the universe. And so when we come together, that creates the structure of the source. But we are all out experiencing. And so it's the expansion. So it goes from the source and expands out. And that is it's like this energy blast. But the energy has a way that energy works. And so that's the part of like the science of the universe, because there's a way that energy works. And that's a part of their science where they're trying to understand, because everything is in micro macro. There keeps being weird noises. That was something over there. There's nothing over there. So there is this understanding. If you can start understanding the way that science works, then you can understand how the universe works, kind of. So they're trying to do that, but see, they're very intrusive, like they're going to bust through the firmament. They're going to do all these things, drill down in the ice to try and find, the history or whatever. Try and find beings that hold stuff, whatever they're doing. But you can't like bust through the firmament, because it is a containment of a vibration. So the vibration is what holds it in the magnetism of the reality. And then when we burst out, is the it's the container. The containment doesn't need to be there, because our vibration moves past it. So we go outside of that containment, because we can no longer be contained by that vibration, because we have gone past it. And so then you move out of that, and then where one goes, the rest will follow. And so that's what Donald was trying to. That's what his whole movement is about bringing in the truth. And because that is what the elevation is for the humans. And he's not doing this thing, like he understands the karmic debt. Like, do you like these people don't understand the karmic debt he would be holding at this point, of trying to fool us and trying to keep control over us. He's methodically trying to open our minds and get us to think and to remember. And he can't just sit down and tell us, because then we'll all sit there and think, oh, well, he's crazy. Some of us would sit there and get it, but there would be so many that would be like, he's trying to fool us. He's crazy. So they have to show it. You have to see it for yourself in order to understand and believe it. And so but he is a part of the movement. He's a catalyst to change. So he's not trying to trick us all to contain us. So when you hear these people who think, everything, they always revert back to stuff about him, always. And so it's like they don't understand what is really happening here. And so, and whether they do blue beam or not, in knowing the truth, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. because you know that there really are, but you know also if they come in hot, blasting, then hide, because that's not the ones that we want to be involved with. And they come in blasting, then know, like, well, it's not the ones we want to go out and shake hands with, because there's two opposing forces, there's two poles. And so however it plays out is how it plays out. Like if they're gonna blue beam us, and then and it will create just like the War of the Worlds, like freaks people out. So I think there was real suicides and stuff, and it was just a radio show. So but they made like it was really happening. And so that was like in the 40s. So that they've always boxed it up and said, well, humans can't handle it, they're too scared of everything. So it's up to you to not be in fear, and to realize, like, well, they can't hurt you anyways. Like, no matter if you leave this storyline, you're not, that's all you do is leave a storyline. And so and when you leave a storyline, it's because your time's up. You finished, you completed the what you came to do. So you don't need to continue. And all the people who feel the loss from you going is because they need to face themselves. Where there's a song out now of a girl singing about, people coming to their funeral. And it was like, you didn't have time for me when I was alive. You couldn't listen to me when I was sad. You couldn't, it's a whole thing. And that's the truth. And that's what people have to face when they go through loss. I was all wrapped up in myself. I wasn't paying attention to them. And so then everybody shows up. You got plenty of time to show up once they're gone. You got plenty of time to come in and mourn and feel bad, but that's what they feel bad about, is themselves. And wishing, and kind of, there's a sense of blaming the person who left, of like, well, you didn't give me enough time, I should have had more time, or whatever. But then you have to reevaluate through the process of what you do with your time, and that you had other priorities, and you didn't want to listen to them whine anymore, you didn't want to hear this, you didn't want to go visit, whatever. It's each person has their individual process, but there's a purpose to loss of what you leave behind. And it involves other people's lessons. So you always leave a trail of you. You're never just gone, gone, gone. And by the time everyone who has known you joins you, then you guys are already on to your next storyline. So you're just moving through, and other people come in to create their storylines, to go through their process. So, and another thing is even when you leave, and everyone who knew you leave, we leave remnants still. We affect, like, that's the chain of events through an ancestral lineage of lessons. And so your great, 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 great grandpa went through something that it still affects everyone else throughout, even though he's been long gone and everybody who remembers him are long gone. There's still an influence through his pain and suffering. And that's why your ancestors are all around you right now, because this is a ending to reality. And so it's an ending to a lot of lessons. And so that's why they're in your ear, because they are trying to help you release the things that they have created in the lineage. So they created a line of lessons, and they want the lessons to be learned so that they can be released from this karmic debt, because the karmic debt is a real big thing. It's a trap, it's an entanglement, and everything that we do affects somebody or something. And that is what creates the entanglements. And that's what part of the whole thing about becoming super mindful as a being, because you do create, because where you go, everybody follows, because you are leaving a trail. And it's an energetic trail. And so if you are creating an energetic trail of pain and suffering, you affect all these people. And it's just like the Clairol commercial, and then they told somebody, and they told somebody, and they told somebody. So your effects go way out. And that's why I'm saying there's no freaking way Donald could have awareness of this and he'd be like, yeah, well, I'm going in all hot and bothered. No. No, when you have awareness of this, you become mindful, you tiptoe. It's like, whoa, I don't want to be affected, I don't want to, you're a lot more mindful. And so, and he has awareness of this. He has, that is one thing, even though he speaks of God and stuff, but that's the only way that certain people can perceive. so they can't perceive everything without having an associated figurehead, in the way they've been trained to think. But he also knows that some event, something's going to happen that's going to blast that storyline. And that storyline's going to dissolve, and everybody's going to see the truth. And however that happens, it's going to have something to do with the sky, the firmament, the worlds coming together, the collision of the truth. It's going to have something to do with it, but I don't know exactly how it's all going to go. But it is definitely, the truth is out there, and it's coming our way. And all this precursor is to preparation, to prepare you for what's to come. And that is what their hardcore distractions are, is to keep people from being prepared, because the preparation is everything. The learning how to love yourself, the shedding the old self, the becoming the new evolved self, the remembering of the truth and the codes you carry. It all goes together. And so it's all a part of the pages of history of this world, of what it is that we're here to experience. And so, yeah, when the people start saying stuff like that, and then the guy, he also was showing these old ancient, what are those things called? Like these artifacts, but they are, confirmation. You know how there's like those statues, Pompeii or whatever, of these people? Well, he was showing these ones of these beings that we would be called, we were told are aliens. Those are aliens. And so they had symbols. They had symbols here, and they had a significant third eye in there, and then they had these symbols. Well, the guy who was talking about it, he didn't know his symbols, and so he knew the more current depiction of the symbols, but he didn't know where the symbols, the more ancient, and so he was taking them as a negative, but they aren't what they told us that they are. So, if you see one and they have, mustache man symbol on their head, that's not because they are what we were told. It's because they are of the natural order. They are the carriers of truth. They're connected to if you think of the spiritual realm, you would connect it more with the light. And see, we're in the dark, but that doesn't mean that it's not a spiritual realm. There's a spiritual realm in the dark, but the beings that have the symbols of these things, that would be the focus of the light, of because the pulling out of the dark. Because the dark is all consuming, and the dark is I just saw this lady, and she said in a meditation she was getting a vision, and she said in the vision that all of a sudden all this darkness started coming out, and it was like real sludge like. And I used to see this all the time when I was I don't know, when I was like way back in 2016, and I would see people who were very much in dark energy. I could just see things like, and I would try and tell people, and people wouldn't understand what I was talking about, but I could see people, and I could see when they are very trapped in the dark, and I could see them like they were like in this sludge, and every step the sludge was holding on to them, and so they're very trapped in this dark sludgy. I've talked about this dark matter, this dark energy before, and it's like tarish, sticky, and so it holds on to you. And that's why you've really got to pull yourself out, cleanse yourself. And that's like the symbolism behind the rebirthing yourself, the baptism, the cleansing of the dark energy, pulling it off of you and cleansing yourself anew to go towards the Holy Spirit, going towards the Christ consciousness. So you have to cleanse your soul, and of this dark energy, which is it's very sludgy, it's very holds on to you. And that's where you can begin to look at what's holding on to you is these these apparitions, these entities of the dark, and how they are all connected in this realm of sludge, and they're holding on to you and holding on to you as you're trying to go and trying to pull you in. And they pull people in. When there's people who are in all the way up to their head, there's people who are in deep. And they surround you, they engulf you. And so you should have awareness of it. And it is a part of the spiritual world, because it isn't in the physical matter of what we see. It's in the senses. And so you have to sense it. You have to have awareness of it. And then some of us, we can sense and have awareness of things, but we can see them. We can see it. And see it, it's like in our mind's eye. And so we can see things. And so that is, abilities that we all have, but it is, not everybody's as focused on them or sees them or whatever. And like I said, I don't know, I mean, some of us carried it in our code. Some of us did bring it in, like, we knew things. Like, I knew this stuff when I was a little kid. And, but I had this, like, I was aware of the conversation. I was aware always that there was beings talking to us. I've been talking to them my whole life. And so it's, it's just some of us, we're living different. We aren't all living the same. So in the darkness, they're trying to hold on to you, and you have to peel them off, pull it out, pull free. And it's a process. And especially if they've got a deep hold on you, and it can be hard and painful, and it's always going to be more comfortable to do the same thing, to be the same. Doing things different and trying things different are always going to be uncomfortable. And so this place is very, very the complexity to the controlling you is very deep. So, and they're masterful. They're masters at this. Like, these beings are old as fuck, man. They've been doing this a long fucking time. So you are up against a champion player, So you gotta raise the bar. You gotta freaking get it together, and you gotta override their system, because when you reconnect to yourself, you are also a master, but you have forgotten. So you have to remember that you're a master. But they have a mastery over you until you find yourself. And you're not going to find yourself expecting some god to come down and play your game for you. You have to do it in order to evolve yourself. Otherwise, you stay in the sense of someone's over me, someone will help me, someone will rescue me. And it's that low-key of control where you can become the victim, because, you're not getting what you want. You're not doing what you want. There's somebody else in control. And so you have to, that's part of the letting go of the dark energy, is letting go of the victim, finding your truth, finding your own, and you have to realize, like, the importance of you. You are the creator. You are a creator. You are a cell. You are an important part of this world. And, but in order to, ascend out of the dark, which, they gave us a concept of hell. And so that's what I would say, if we're going to go by concepts, that would be the realization of what hell would be, the dark, and it has a hold on you, and you loop and loop and loop, and you're tricked all the time. So you have to pull out, you have to recognize, and you have to start letting go of all the darkness that has got a hold on you. And it will do everything it can to keep a hold on you, because it's very parasitic and you're the host. And so I've talked about all this stuff. And so in her vision, she was seeing all of this dark sludge that was coming. And she said it started coming out of the grounds, but it started coming out of people. And she said everybody was out, and everybody started having all this blackness coming out of them. And she said, and the sky was very gray, just like it has been. It's been very gray here and overcast all the time. And so then she said, so the sky was like that, but she said suddenly this light came in, which it kind of is trippy, because the sun, it keeps being so weird, like a real light. The sun, it looks so weird. And and so many people, when I share videos and stuff, other people will show pictures and stuff of that, what they've gotten and stuff. So the sun is very odd, how the light is, the light, how it comes through the clouds, how it lights up things. It's like it's different. It's way different than when I was a kid. And so she said that this light suddenly came and it started clearing all the gray, and all of the sludge that was coming out of people started like burning, and it turned to ash. And she said when everything cleared, when the ash cleared and all the gray cleared, and it was just the light, she said we were in this beautiful place that was all crystalline, and there was crystals everywhere, and it was beautiful, and it was but see, that's in the comprehensive state of change of evolution or whatever, then it is, that would very be symbolic of the having to burn it away to pull out of the dark, the sludge, and move into the light, and that is the creation of the new world. And then the ones that get there, then they get to experience this beautiful cosmic blissful reality, of like the truth to Earth's soul, of what it, like, kind of like where you've got good people that represent, like they're filled with dark. And so what you see is their dark side, but underneath that they have, like they're a good person. And, a lot of us, stay in relationships with people because you knew at the core they were a good person. But so think of that kind of concept through Earth. So the Earth is this beautiful soul, but it has been battered and beaten. And so it's all of that purging out to get to the beautiful soul underneath. And that's where we get to go and get to experience get to the beauty, get to the beautiful soul in the inside. And so that's where the world becomes this beautiful, blissful place, because we peel away all of the dark and all of the pain and all of the things that we've done to each other, to Earth, to everything. And so that is this process that we're going through right now. But I mean, it still could be. Oh, God, the dogs are, I'm telling you. Get to me sometimes. The purging out of all this darkness and bringing us into the light, that's all of this whole thing going on. But it can also be in the physical. So we can, the solar flash thing, this light, we can become a part of our seeing the truth by seeing this darkness come up and try and hold on, but dissolving from the light, because there would be enough light carriers that once the light comes in, it would be because there's enough light here to hold the light. So it's the carriers of the light. So we all carry the light, but it depends on how much you tune yourself to the light. And you have to be aware of your triggers and stuff. Like, you have to keep purging out all of these things that are these dark parts that hold on to you, and they come up in triggers. And so you have to process through the trigger in order to let it go. And so the journey is to finding love, to becoming peace. And but anyways, but that is what, this whole representation of the MAGA and where we all go, and all of that stuff has to do with this big movement towards where it is that we're really headed. And there's going to be more events that are going to come. And yes, there's going to be some big things that are going to happen. And I still say there's going to be some big natural disasters, which there was some big 2 back-to-back earthquakes over off the California coast. Yeah, within the last couple of days. I'm not sure what day she was talking about. I think she was not yesterday, but the day before. And it was like a 6.4, and then immediately another one. And there keeps being more and more and more because the earth is very unsettled. The more unsettled that we become, the more unsettled it becomes, because we all work together, because it's an energetic magnetism that creates our environment. So everything goes together. And so there's going to definitely be more natural disasters because the landscape is going to change. There is going to be changes in the landscape. And whether, all these prophecies of these maps are accurate, I don't know. I know that the water is going to come up, the coastlines are going to change. And so we're going to go on to new parts of the land that are not so used up. And so we're going to start anew. We're going to be in new territory. And we're going to be the creators of the new world. And so um, that kind of stuff is going to happen. And then we're also going to have some crazy events, some more stuff about the truth. There was some people saying, or this one girl who was talking about, no, that was a different one, because I've seen several this morning talking about, because they said the what do they call, the portals are open now for the eclipse. They're always like, the portals are open. Okay, so we'll zip out of here. But so the eclipse energy has already started, and it's going to become more and more intense. And through the eclipse being, so how it moves, it comes across, but then it starts exposing. So and then there's more alignments and stuff too: Aquarius, Capricorn, Pluto, all this stuff. But they all have a purpose in this sense of the great reveal. And so things are being revealed, but one of them was saying there's going to be some big change in the political, and which Pam, apparently she's also on the fought. Like, I don't even know. Who knows? All I know is that 98% of the people who have been running us are in it, and that they are not going to continue to run us. There's going to be big changes in that. And the one lady who was like the blue beam and all that stuff, and she was like about the money and stuff like that. The money and stuff, this is all going to change. Everything's going to change, and it's not because the tater is going to go in and do it because we're going to all be under his thumb. It's like he's trying to bring in the change. He's trying to elevate us. He's trying to help us because of karma, and him having awareness of the truth of the universe. Like, you got to realize, like, he is, he could be somebody from the mystery school, like, for all we know. And so we don't know. He could be Galleon Thor. We don't know. So, but he definitely is not trying to take over all of us. Like that, these people who think that is fear and paranoia, and that's not what's happening. But they don't see what's really happening because they cut themselves off from it, because they're so focused, they're zoomed in on him being a tater, and they don't zoom out and try and see the big picture. And they don't know because they can't imagine, they can't wrap their head around he could be doing anything good. So, I mean, I was there before years ago, so I can understand where they're coming from. But that's why I know you got to step out. You got to start listening to other people. You got to start seeing the bigger picture, and you got to understand what's really happening spiritually in this world, and in the two forces of nature, and the one that he is representing or following. And so he's taking us towards the light. And so there has to be a lot of stuff exposed. We have to see the truth. We have to align with where we align into the patterns of the in between the poles of dark and light. And so that is the gray. And you have to find your place. And so that's finding your balance, is finding your center. And so so all of this stuff being exposed is part of helping you. It's not because he's trying to trick us all, like all the stuff that I hear, man, is so much. But what really is happening is he's trying to prepare us for what's to come. And so there has been a whole thing, like the money thing is going to change, the power is going to change, that we won't need all this medical, we won't need all of that stuff, because we're going to understand that the healer is in you. You have to be the healer of self. And it's so there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out. So the old things, the old way of being, we won't need it anymore. and we're not going to need people over us telling us what to do. And they took advantage of their positions, and they were corrupted. They were taken in by the dark. And so there's a lot that has to be exposed and be shown, and that's what's going to move us so that we can begin to go into the creators of this new world. But yeah, I do think that there's going to be something significant that's going to happen, that's going to really make people understand the world. And it, whether it's, beings coming and landing, or if it's the world all of a sudden, the sky doing something crazy, if it's the sky moving and showing us what's behind, if the firmament goes, and like, I don't know, there's just something that is going to be remarkable. This is going to happen. And when it happens, it's going to affect people in different ways. Just as all of these energies changing is causing so much effect. Like, man, I'm telling you, I am exhausted. And I feel intense. I feel as like, oh, I'm on the edge. And my body hurts. Jeez, my body hurts. And I can tell with the dogs that they're having the same kind of thing. And in my dreams, oh my God, the dreams are insane. And it's like you're going, like, I keep going to these other worlds and going through these long things. And even when I get woke up, and I go right back to it. I get woke up, I go right back to it. And it is so hard to wake up. Man, it is so hard to wake up. And I still feel like I'm still half in somewhere else. I'm only halfway here. It's like it's hard. Like, this stuff is hard right now. And it's very much, getting to people. And it's, so I don't know. You would think with all the tension building that the collapse is right ahead. Because how much tension can you build before a rubber band snaps? So we got to realize that we're being pulled as tight as we can pull. Something's going to snap. So we are so close to something big, happening, some big reveal, something huge. And so, and I don't know, it's hard to imagine it's going to be till July, but man, when I started this in 2020, well, I started on Twitter on 2020. I started YouTube 2021, January. And when I started, I thought, oh my gosh, I'll probably do this a couple months. Probably everything's going to be done here in a couple months. Well, look where we're at now. And so, yeah, I've thought things were going to come in closer, faster for a long time. One of the things was when I started seeing stuff, when I started seeing what was coming in 2016, then I thought the reason I was seeing it was because it was about to happen. I kind of went into panic mode, like, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. I started telling everybody, I was trying to get everybody, get in line, you gotta get your shit together. It's about to go down. And that was in 2016. And so, a lot of people thought I had lost it, especially because I had a brain injury. So people were just like, oh, she's a little crazy. And so, and then my whole life, but I was labeled as being, kooky and crazy my whole life. So, but now, it's been this long. And so, but we are getting closer and closer. The tension is building. So, but to be able to say like, oh, for sure it's going to happen now, because like I said, when I was seeing it so clear back then, I thought the reason I was seeing it clearly was because it was about to go down. I didn't know I could see so far ahead. So it's like, you don't realize how far you can really see until the time stretches out. And then it's like, dang, man, I thought shit was going to go down way sooner than this. So, anyways, we are there. I mean, like, but I don't know. Is it going to be July? Is it August? Are we going to all float up and that's going to be the thing? I have no idea. I have no idea what it is going to be. I just know something is going to happen that's going to change the trajectory of everything that we know. And it's little by little so far has been edging us, preparing us, getting us ready, opening our minds, getting us to pay attention, getting us to try and be more clear with ourselves, to communicate with. It's the come to Jesus moment is like where all seems lost and you've got no one else to talk to but Jesus. which, you know, it's not, don't be thinking like Jesus has spread himself so thin. It's like you're really talking to your guides, your higher self, other beings. There's tons of other beings out there. Just like I said, there's tons of gods out there. So don't get too worshipy. So, but you know, there's beings out there that are trying to help and trying to communicate. Corey Good said that inner earth beings, that they go sit in this room and meditate all day to communicate with us, because they're trying to help us. There's other beings that are out there trying to help us. You've got family on other planets that are trying to help you. So you got all sorts of help out there. So you're really going and communicating. You know, you want to just look at it and see, well, like, I'm sure it must be Jesus. Then that's up to you. You know, it's however you need to perceive. But there is help out there, and that's what I say. That's your come to Jesus moment. That's when all seems lost and you got no one else to talk to. And so, but just be aware that it's probably not Jesus that you're talking to. It's probably, you know, your ancestors, your God, your family from other places, all sorts of other beings that are out there trying to help you communicate with you. So anyways, but there's no telling what's to come. But when you're listening to some of these people, I mean, there's lots of people out there who, you know, at this point now act like they've got all the answers, but they were also the people who were standing at the back and not talking because the rest of us were being made fun of. And so whatever, you know, they see, think, or feel, you know, it's up to you who you want to listen to. And then, and a lot of, you know, are they just listening to what others say and buying on it? Because you have a whole huge amount of people who are very driven by their political affiliation, and that's how they see things. And so there's a lot of misleading. There's a lot of stuff, you know, people are just, it's all over the place. It's all over the place, but that's what we're here to be. We're here to be all over the place and to give every experience its day and time. And so, but it's up to us to be the savior of self. So it's up to you to save yourself. It's up to you to get your shit together, get yourself straight, get yourself in order, you know, because otherwise you are just a product of your environment. And in order to get yourself in order, you got to learn how to love yourself. I mean, it's just 101. You know, you got to, in the process, you got to purge out who you have been, the bad choices you've made. You've got to learn how to accept yourself. You've got to learn how to elevate yourself, to value yourself, to believe in yourself, to trust yourself. So it's a whole bunch of things of the dark that's holding on to you that you got to let go of and move in that direction. It always leads to you just loving yourself. You know, I value myself. I'm worthy. I have purpose. There's a reason why I'm here. And so once you can do that for yourself, that's when you can start being like, well, everybody else is the same. We're all the same. So they all have purpose. They all, when we start spreading love, everyone is going to be loving themselves and loving each other. It's going to be a world where, you know, we're kind to each other. We smile at each other. We care about what, you know, talking to somebody for a minute, getting to know somebody for a second, and how the interactions that you have in the world are part of your story. So there will be more value to each other, and the reason that we have an interaction there for a minute, and what can we get from it. So the value of everyone will become more significant. So learning how to love yourself, learning how to love everybody else is key. And learning how to have the day you want to have. Because, yeah, they'll keep you scrambling in the dark. They'll keep you tied in. But you have to be able to pull yourself free. You have to be able to pull out. And you have to be able to focus on the energy you want to focus on. And right now, it's really important to start focusing on what you want. Where do you want to be? Where is it you want to go? Because they will keep you trapped in the feeling of despondence, of feeling so sad. I mean, they're fucking birthing people on a platter. Like, fuck, man. This place is dark. But you got to remember, they are not the same as us. These are other beings, you know, and I mean, for all we know, there could be cultures out there who throw a pig up on a thing and give it birth because everybody wants, because there is some about veal, like people want this, oh, it's a baby cow, it's even better, you know. So remember the micro, macro, and what these people are. And they're not the same beings as us. So yeah, the stuff that they do, we can think of as horrendous, but we're just animals to them. We're just cattle. They've said it. So you gotta know your place in this world. But we're leaving it behind and we're making a new one. We're going to go to one where we can all feel safe and feel good and not be somebody else's supper. So, anyways, you don't want to be somebody else's supper. Go towards the light. So, anyways, but we'll see what happens today. Now it's Sunday. We're about to start another week that will fly on by. And plus, yeah, we're coming into the fire horse. So it's going to move. It's going to be some movement. It's going to be quick action. So, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this day goes. And we will talk about it tomorrow. So I'll see you in the morning. Bye.